Here are some low vibrational things that I stopped doing. Number one, and this might be a little controversial, but I stopped watching the news. I live in a big city and the news is just filled with crime and tragedy. So I stopped watching the news and my anxiety has gotten so much better. Number two, changing my wall art. A few years ago, I was in a really deep depression, but then I started looking around in my house and I realized that my wall art was literally manifesting into my reality. I used to have these drawings in my bedroom of a woman crying, but then in reality, it was me. I was the woman crying. Number three, low vibrational media. I used to be a huge fan of scary movies, true crime, sad music, but then it was really starting to affect me and my mood. My anxiety and depression were at an all-time high when I was consuming that kind of media, and ever since I've cut it out, I feel so much better mentally. And lastly, cutting toxic people off. Toxic people will drain every ounce of your energy, and cutting them off is the only way to keep your peace.
Hey, my Rych Babes, it's your girl Bella Dyor, and today let's talk about letting go of low vibrational habits if you want to succeed. Habits like consistently doubting yourself, procrastinating, and also surrounding yourself with negative people are blocking your growth. You cannot keep entertaining people or situations that drain your energy and expect to elevate. Letting go might feel uncomfortable at first, but you have to choose habits that align with the life you want to live. That means setting boundaries, focusing on what matters, and putting in the work daily to become your best self. The vision of you that succeed doesn't have time for low energy, and neither do you. All right, Rych Babes, let's get this party started. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. And thank you all to ones who already scheduled their sessions with me. I'm so excited to talk to you. Let's go.
Here are some low vibrational things that I cut out of my life. Number one is being overly caffeinated. In law school, I developed a habit of popping caffeine pills. Literally, as soon as I would wake up in bed, I would have a caffeine pill and that would get me going in the morning. And then a few hours later in the morning, I would have an actual cup of coffee. And then I would have another coffee in the afternoon. Needless to say, I developed this really bad habit of having way too much caffeine in order to function. And the key word there is habit, because you really don't need that much caffeine. If you get a good amount of sleep, if you eat well, 1 cup of coffee should be okay. The second thing is shows or documentaries that display crime, sadness, or suffering. Rather just watch things that display happiness and joy and success in order to inspire more of those thoughts and behaviors in me. The third is music with misogynistic undertones. I love hip hop, but I think a lot of its music has very misogynistic undertones. So I now either don't listen to those songs or just skip through those parts of the songs because I don't want to hear the nonsense. And of course, I don't listen to sad music either. I listen to music that, talk about living life and enjoying life. I don't want to hear heartbreak music all the time. I don't want to hear sadness or depression. I want to hear joy, laughter, success.
Low vibrational things I cut out of my life once I started healing. I've been seeing this trend and I want to jump in. I haven't prepared any structure or notes. I'm just going to kind of go off the top of my head and I might make it a series because I'm sure I will forget some things. But I just want to say, thinking about this made me really realize, whoa, because I did not have this version of myself or my life just a couple of years ago. And the fact that I'm having to rack my mind of the changes that I've actually made to get myself here just makes me really be like, this new reality really is my new normal. I forget that the first 23 years of my life were a complete 180 shit show. But let me tell you what I did to change that. The first is just shit that I consumed. So first off, the news. We don't watch the news because of just the control and the fear and the lack of narratives. And I just kind of freed myself from that whole narrative and system that we're supposed to be subscribing to and following. Because what happens to the people that follow it? Eat the standard American diet, get the standard American diseases, take the standard American meds, and then other things I stopped consuming are gossip, trash TV, chaos addiction is a real thing. So if you're trying to heal, and this is a sneaky way that your subconscious is trying to get those adrenaline hits, cut it out. And then also just scary movies, horror movies, crime TV. Again, first of all, for the fact that it dysregulates your nervous system. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real and an imagined experience. So you're just keeping yourself stuck in cycles of fight or flight when you're trying to heal and take yourself out of chronic states of stress. And also, like, a lot of the time we're watching these things right before bed as our brainwave state is slowing, making our subconscious mind more subjected to suggestion, which just means your brain is going to marinate in all of that, like, negativity for the next 8 hours. No, thank you. Same with music. Like, I know we all love, like, our little sob fest and, like, our sad playlist, but if you find yourself, like, just either being in an okay mood and then pulling yourself into a negative mood by listening to music, or always listening to music that, like, pulls up old negative memories, same thing. You're subconsciously seeking out ways to perpetuate old programming. So start to interrupt that pattern. I also stopped doing things that were normalized and started doing things that were optimal for me. So the biggest thing I can think of is, like, I stopped drinking. I don't do things just because I'm young or just because, like, it's fine. It, like, societal norms. If it's not serving me, I'm not doing it. I also got rid of, like, shit that has old energy, because everything has energy, and when you get more in touch with your body, you recognize that. So if you feel like, ooh, that reminds me of, like, an old thing, or, like, a shame or there's just negative, heavy, weird energy attached to it, get it out of your physical space, because energy lingers and it affects you subconsciously more than you realize. If you want a part 2, let me know.
Some low vibrational things that I no longer participate in now that I'm 27 and wiser. Watching reality TV. Every time I try to watch reality TV, I promise you, I feel my brain cells dying by the second. Opening Facebook. Every time I get on Facebook, I see the meanest people from high school posting inspirational quotes. And it's flooded with judgmental family members. I just have to close the app every single time. Drinking alcohol. I stopped drinking alcohol not too long ago, and now my sleep is better after going out. I look and I feel less tired after going out, and my skin looks better. And now I'm a lot more observant of what people are actually saying when they're under the influence. Getting a regular manicure. I haven't used regular nail polish in 10 years, but apparently it's still a thing. Like, people are still sitting and waiting 30 minutes plus for it to dry, only for it to chip in less than a week. Taking the New York City subway, period, but especially post-COVID. I've lived in New York City for almost 5 years now, but post-COVID, almost everything in the city became so low vibrational, and the subway is number 1 on that list. While it's much faster to get around New York City via subway, the fact that I have to carry pepper spray and question my safety makes it not worth it. Plus, it smells really, really bad.
Low vibrational things I cut out as soon as I started my healing journey. Change your social media feed. Once I did this and I unfollowed the celebrities that I know and I love and filled it with business, mindset, health, education, all of those things, my entire day shifted, because that's the content that I was consistently consuming. They say social media is toxic. No, it's not. It's your feed that is. Alcohol is another big one. If you struggle with depression or anything like that, mood swings, hormones, etc., alcohol is a depressant. It's not going to make you feel great, especially when you consume it in large amounts. Stop staying up so late. Our bodies are meant to follow a circadian rhythm. You rise and fall with the sun. And so as soon as you start doing that, your body starts producing melatonin and all of the things naturally at the times that it should. You will just feel better. People, you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. If you feel like your life isn't where you want it to be, it's time to evaluate your circle and make some cuts.
Low vibrational things I stopped doing to build a 7-figure business. The first is I stopped praying for money. Instead, I thank God for presenting me in front of the right people who needed my products and services. Taking advice from people whose advice was geared to me saving more money instead of saving more time. I didn't want to spend more time on my business. I wanted to spend less time. I started setting better financial boundaries with myself. I stopped using business revenue for personal expenses. Number 4, I stopped marketing my business to anyone and everyone. I focused on the people I was not only qualified to help, but who I actually felt I could have the most success with, which is high-performing millennials with ADHD and anxiety that are entrepreneurs or corporate leaders. That is the person I market to. That's what all my social media is geared towards, those type of individuals. And then lastly, I stopped looking at vanity metrics like the number of followers or subscribers I had or how many views or likes I would get, because I'm not an influencer, I'm a business owner. So the numbers that really matter are the ones in my business checking account. Like, is the work that I'm doing, is what I'm posting, my daily activities increasing that amount? So I started to focus on that versus vanity metrics. Let me know if you want a part 2.
Here are some more low vibrational things that I stopped doing. Number 1, divisive conversations. Now, I want to be very clear on this because I do not want to be misunderstood. But a few years ago, I was very passionate about sharing my beliefs and engaging in divisive conversations about politics and social justice. But these conversations would leave me so upset and frustrated with people for literally days because they didn't understand my perspective. And I realized that I was only hurting myself, so I had to disengage. And I want to be very clear because my passion for social justice and equity has not changed, but how I engage in conversations and who I engage in conversations with has changed. Number 2, and this one's a big one, attachment to money. Money is truly a mindset, and learning how to release your attachment to money will not only make it come into your life quicker and easier, but it relieves you from a lot of stress and worry. Number 3, self-deprecating jokes. Saying things like, "Oh my God, I'm so dumb," or "I'm such a mess." Even if you're only joking, your subconscious doesn't know the difference. Self-deprecating is so damaging because over time you will subconsciously start to believe those things about yourself. So you really have to cut it out and talk to yourself like you would a loved one.
Low vibrational things that I cut out of my life. Let's do it. Let's start with true crime. I had to let true crime go. You guys, there's not a single snapped episode that I haven't watched. I'm a true crime junkie. I used to play true crime as I fall asleep. Literally. Like I would, for years, for like 15 years, I would have to hear, and she stabbed someone, and then he died, and then the legs were cut off so I can fall. Like it's like my version of Sleeping Pill was true crime. Until like that Brian Kohlberger case. And I would literally vividly see him in my dreams. And I knew that it was time to let true crime go. And I've suffered from insomnia for years. And I used to think true crime helped me sleep. But then I cut it off and I started sleeping. True crime is as low vibrational as possible. And I had to block all the true crime accounts on TikTok. I just realized that I'm already as neurodivergent as it gets. Incredible toner by Fenty Skin. That I don't want to add to the problem. So I've been watching The Office every night, as you guys know. My favorite show. And sometimes I will mix it with The Mindy Project, Friends, any light-hearted show before I go to bed. I don't watch the news either anymore. I know it's like, oh, why do you want to be ignorant? But ignorance is bliss. I don't want to ingest bad information, especially anytime past 5. And it's really helped with my insomnia. Number 2, talking about before bed, I also don't go out past 9:30 anymore. First of all, I'm too old. Second of all, it's a law that I created for myself when I was paying off my debt. And I kind of just stuck to it. And it's incredible. Listen, no matter how much money you spend during the day, you're going to spend more at night. There's something about nightlife that's just more expensive. And those Uber rides catch up to you. The gas in my gas guzzler catches up. I've just become relatively frugal. The more money I make, the more frugal I become. And I love that for myself. I'm saving up for a future. And I'm not going to mess that up by going out and paying $300 for drinks with girlfriends. So no matter where I'm at with my friends, at 9:30, they know Nika is out of here. She's going home. I will Irish exit out. I'm gone. Bye guys. See you next time. 9:30 is my curfew. I stick to it. I don't waver from it. I try not to. And my mom always said to me, nothing good opens after 9 o'clock, honey, except for a pair of legs. And if you're practicing celibacy, you don't want to be out past 9. You just don't. And the next thing that I cut out of my life is me trying to change people. I now live by show me who you are and I'll just take your word for it. I realized that it's quite arrogant to try to change people. And that was my thing. My therapist told me that I had a savior complex, and that hurt when I heard that. But she was right. I have a savior complex, and I rescue people, and I think I can change them. I meet people who don't have a work ethic, and I go, oh, I can make sure you have a work ethic. Or if they're a cheater, I go, oh, no, you can change for me. And people don't change. People are who they are. And I've exhausted 30-something years trying to change people into who they are not. So I'm not at a place in my life. You tell me once who you are, I take your word for it. And last but not least, one-sided friendship or one-sided anyship, honestly. I'm just at a point that perhaps it's selfish, but you have to put more effort into the relationship than I do. Meaning, if I'm your friend and I'm the one if I'm always giving you advice, if I'm always the one that drives over to your place, if I'm always the one that carries the weight in any of the ships that I'm in, I step away. It's part of trying to help myself with my savior complex, because I tend to work harder in my relationships when I can tell that people are not putting in as much effort. And so I'm just at a point now, if the equilibrium is off, I exit the friendship rather quickly. In other words, if the ship is tilted, I just let it sink and move on with my life. I know mine isn't as heavy as everyone else I've seen on TikTok, but I wanted to keep it light. I'm trying to keep my life light in general. So yeah, these are the things that I've kind of cut off out of my life, and they've really, really, really helped a lot. No low vibration all of 2023. Good night. Bye. I love you so much.
Here's a list of low vibrational things I cut out of my life since I'm on like a healing journey. Number 1 is drinking. I no longer drink just to drink. I probably have a drink maybe once a month if I'm celebrating something. Alcohol doesn't taste good to me anymore, especially when you have gone without it. It's literally disgusting. I found myself getting into a very depressive state after a drink, not realizing that alcohol is a downer. I don't need that toxins in my life. I drink, I wake up, and I feel terrible. So might as well not do that. When I was back in my old days, you get drunk and you call ex and you do something stupid. So I'd rather just not drink because it just brings me to low vibrational places. Number 2 is gossiping and sending celebrity photos to each other. On Instagram you send a picture to your friend and oh, she looks good, she looks nice. I kind of stopped doing all that gossip stuff. I don't want to hear it if it has nothing to do with my life and what's going on with us and us trying to level up. Let's stop talking about people. I am so over about celebrity gossip, friend gossip. Just cut me out the conversation. Another one related to celebrity gossip is reality TV. I can't stand reality TV. All these people who watch Baddies West, sorry, no shade. I used to watch Bad Girls Club in my younger days, but Baddies, Love and Hip Hop, I'm over it. I do hear that the Real Housewives is not gossipy, but something about watching other people's lives, I don't know, I'm just not here for it. I feel I'd rather work on my life. Okay, number 4, since I cut alcohol out of my life, the clubs are boring. I do not go to the club anymore. Please don't invite me to the club. I'm standing there sober as hell, what? This is so boring. Nobody dances. All these fake conversations because we were drunk. That's why it was fun. But maybe I'll go to the club once every so often. I want to be in my bed at a certain time, and the club is just not there for me. Also, I just don't want to be surrounded by a whole bunch of lost souls and just low vibrational people in general. So the club, don't invite me. Another one is watching to see who viewed my Instagram story. I do not care who watched my Instagram story. Something about posting on Instagram is getting very embarrassing these days. And just back in the day when I used to scroll to see if that certain somebody watched my story or that girl watched my story, I'm so over that. I do not even look at the views count that I got for the day. I don't have time to put 2 and 2 on this fake page and who sent this to my story. It's just too much and very low vibrational energy. Last but not least, I am done with following trends, whether it be fashion trends, hate trends, all that. Have your own mind, because everyone's just following hate trains. If somebody hates something, they're hopping on the bandwagon. Have a mind of your own. Have a style of your own.
I'm not here for all like the copying of people and things like that.
Hey y'all, here are some things that I didn't know were low vibrational that we all be doing. Number one is playful negative self-talk. So I know maybe all of us have said like, oh my god, I'm so stupid, or I'm so crazy, or I'm such a dumbass for doing that, lol. But in reality, that's programming your subconscious mind into thinking like you are those things. That's why positive affirmations work the opposite. Number two is watching a lot of violent TV and videos. When you watch a lot of like really dangerous and violent and gory television, often you're kind of subconsciously, lowering your vibration by putting yourself in a state of fear. Like, of course, no one wants any of those things that are being portrayed in those movies to happen to them. But being in a state of fear is literally the lowest vibration you can put yourself in. Number three is eating extremely unhealthy all the time. Now, of course, eating, junk food in moderation is always cool. One bad thing's not gonna hurt you. But when you're constantly eating bad things with a bunch of chemicals and GMOs and preservatives and all that stuff, your body can't function at its highest potential. You may not even feel good, not just physically, but mentally too. All that affects us. Number four is drinking all the time. Now, like I said, moderation is fine. But when you're constantly drinking, you're bringing your mind into a different state and you're typically operating in ego. Think about all the times that you had drunken courage or you did things that you may have regret. When you drink often, you're really just not operating through your real intentional soul. You feel me? Which brings me to number five, talking badly about people all the time. Like, of course, you're gonna have your days where you need to vent. That is totally okay. But when you're constantly talking about people badly all the time, you're not really operating through love, to be honest. The only way you're able to open your heart chakra is being open, loving, and compassionate. So doing that definitely blocks it, and you're not operating at your highest vibration. Last but not least is number six, watching the news. So while a bunch of people want to keep up on current events, just notice how the news is always showing extremely bad events back to back to back. Now all bad is not going on in the world. It's also programming you to live in a state of fear all the time. And you can't function doing that. But I hope you enjoy.
Okay, more low vibrational things I cut out of my life as we make some breakfast. Number one, complaining about every little thing. And just complaining in general, to be honest. Not to say that I don't vent and feel all the feels. Like, we don't want toxic positivity over here. But at the same time, if you are choosing to actively complain about every little thing in your life instead of finding gratitude sometimes, that's just gonna be low vibe. Number two, consuming the news and other just like low vibrational forms of media, I guess. Whether that's following someone on social media that you don't like or doesn't sit well with you, or just consuming a lot of like negative or fear-mongering stuff. Lastly, number three, this one is probably the most important, yet not enough people do it, especially women, is accepting and tolerating low vibe behavior and not having boundaries. That'll keep you perpetuating on a low vibrational energy and won't be attracting the things that you actually want that are up here.
The girlies are doing a trend of the low vibrational things that they cut out of their life when they started healing, and I want to get involved because I cut so many things out of my life. This is perfect for me. Disclaimer, if you do any of these things, that's your business. I'm talking about what is low vibrational to me, and I will not be explaining any further if you have resistance to it. First thing was alcohol. I feel like my discernment was completely shut off when I used to drink, and at the time I was a teenager, so I stopped drinking very young. Do not regret it. Love a good mocktail, and I just will never drink again. Then I went vegan because meat just did not agree with my body. Anything from an animal just didn't agree with my body. I felt like I was just so sluggish. I have chronic illnesses. I have fibromyalgia, which I found that going vegan really helped with that. And it also helped me feel more at peace, clear my mind, and I just receive guidance so much better when there is not meat or anything like that in my body. Then this is in no specific order, but extended family members who I just don't want to talk to, never wanted to talk to, and don't have to talk to, they got cut out of my life. The ones that made me feel really small, the ones that always had something negative to say about someone and never have anything else to talk about, gone. Friends who also have those same characters, gone. People pleasing, gone. The news, gossip pages on Instagram, blocked, gone. My dream career, because it was in an industry that I feel like is really toxic and detrimental to people, gone. Making excuses for guys who want to give me the bare minimum, gone. Feeling sorry for people and letting them back into my life only to hurt me again, gone. And then one of the things that I'm really proud of was smoking. I smoked cigarettes for 10 years and I'll be at 3 years sober in a couple of weeks. I am so proud of me because I used to be smoking and every day smoking. And I don't smoke anymore, so I'm really proud of me because that was so low vibe. Taking medications also, like all of the paracetamols, all the different pain medications, all the different medications. I was on so many for my chronic illnesses. They didn't even help me and I just cut them all out because I don't need them. If I need to feel what's going on in my body, I need to feel what's going on in my body, even if it hurts me, because that's how I can heal it. And it's done me so much good. And another thing that I love that was low vibe that I got out of the way was the need to hold space for people who are hell-bent on misunderstanding you. I do not do that anymore. I don't have the room for it. Argue with yourself. So yeah, I did all of these things and so many other things. But like these are the things that just came to mind now, of the things that I cut out that were low vibe when I was healing. And now I feel so much more free. So yeah, what are you guys cut out?
I've seen a lot of people talking about this, so I'm going to jump on this trend. Here are 6 low vibrational things that I've cut out of my life as a big, tough 32-year-old. The first is saying yes when I want to say no. Like, I'm too old to be agreeing to do things that I have no business doing. The club. Now, I will be there if it's someone's birthday and I'm going there to celebrate with them, but essentially, I don't make plans to go to the club. I never liked the club anyways. I would fall asleep at the club, so why force it? Negative talk about my husband. This is a behavior I had when I was younger, where I feel like I would want to vent to my friends, but essentially, like, you can discuss with your partner and figure it out. The no new friends mentality. Meanwhile, your friends are secretly jealous and envious of you. No. Inconveniencing myself so that I would be considered reliable and people would like me more. People pleasing. And the final one is relationships that are built on gossip. I usually nip those conversations directly in the butt. Let me know what yours are. Bye.
All right, Rych Babes, I hope you learned a lot from this video. Make sure that you comment down below what you think, what you're working on. Also, Rych Babes, if you would like to schedule a one-on-one exclusive talk session with me, make sure you do that. I already been speaking to a lot of my Rych Babes and it's so exciting to connect with you all. Thank you all for the ones who have trusted in me enough to talk with you one-on-one. I'm so excited for the ones who've already been scheduled for this week. Ooh! All right, so if you want to schedule a session with me, please make sure that you go to richmilan.com and look for Rych Consulting, and there you will see how you're able to schedule a session and we can have a talk. We can have a little girls talk, and yeah, I love that. So with that being said, Rych Babes, I love you all and you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Stay rich, Rych Babes.